Kamala Harris goes on an insane revenge tour against her own allies, while at the same time repeating the same kind of propaganda that lost her the election. Stephen A. Smith says something unbelievable about the former vice president, and President Trump torches the United Nations after a technical issue almost causes an accident. We've got a lot to talk about, but real quick, make sure that you drop a like and subscribe to make a difference today. Former Vice President Kamala Harris and her book have been making media rounds for some time now, and it's insane to see her throwing so many of her allies under the bus in just a few days. She said that California Governor Gavin Newsom wouldn't take her call and did not call back as promised. She called former President Joe Biden as reckless for trying to get re-elected, and now she's set her sights on Governor Tim Walz, specifically Walz's awful debate performance against Vice President J.D. Vance. In her book, it says that Harris was frustrated with Walz and that she complained to her husband Dougie, saying that Vance fooled Walz into thinking that he was for bipartisanship. In one moment, it's also reported that she told the TV screen, "You're not there to make friends with the guy who is attacking your running mate." She also called Walz a shapeshifter since she was surprised at how bad he was at debating. Although he also can't forget that the only reason she picked him was because Pete Buttigieg was gay. I covered that in a recent video that you should definitely check out. Harris is also stuck to her ways of repeating the same statements over and over.
A president of the United States running for re-election.
Current sitting president is running for re-election. Running for re-election.
3.5 months from the election, decides not to run.
3.5 months from the election, he decides not to run. 3.5 months before the election, decides not to run.
With 107 days to go.
With 107 days.
Yeah.
With 107 days to go.
And it ended up being the closest presidential election
In the 21st century.
Now you're going to want to sit down for this because Stephen A. Smith, one of the many personalities that's being seen as a contender for the presidential nomination for the left, is calling out Harris. This comes after the former VP said that she can't recall one thing that President Trump has done so far that's good for the country.
Listen, I got a lot of problems with Donald Trump, a whole lot of problems. I truly, truly do. But I will say this, I can't say the man has done nothing right. I can't say that the border situation hasn't improved. I can't say that I can't ignore that the economy hasn't fallen, that's fallen apart. I'm still waiting for the results of the tariff war, the real results. I'm still waiting for him to resolve the Ukraine-Russian war, and it's nice to see him speak in favor of Ukraine for a change. But to say you can't think of anything that he has done shows the partisanship, how flagrant it is, how unproductive or counterproductive it is, and how she was not the right person to lead this country, and she, as far as I'm concerned, is done in politics. I cannot see the Democratic Party supporting her one iota moving forward.
Moving on, President Trump went scorched earth on the United Nations as an escalator issue showed him where they stood. Now you're seeing the footage, but I want you to know, days before he and First Lady Melania arrived there, UN staff joked about turning off the escalator as they stepped on, with UN staff saying that they just tell President Trump that they ran out of money to keep it going, so they'd be forced to walk up, something that they actually did. The UN though has blamed President Trump and the people with him for causing the escalator to stop. The technical issue caused a minor uproar and led to the president addressing it in his speech.
I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen, but she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the 2 things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter.
You really have to ask why the UN doesn't seem to like President Trump all that much, a president who, as he said, has stopped multiple wars within his first few months in office, with them being called the United Nations you'd think that they'd given him an award. The president also addressed how Europe is now facing a nightmare, something that we faced just a few months ago, a problem that has seemingly been fixed within half a year, the massive influx of illegal immigrants due to open borders, something that many Democrats here support.
Europe is in serious trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out. It's not sustainable. When your prisons are filled with so-called asylum seekers who repaid kindness, and that's what they did. They repaid kindness with crime. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. See, I can tell you. I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell.
Now I'm going to leave the judgment with you in the comment section. Do you agree with President Trump, or is it better to keep our borders open? Before I go, please don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to keep yourself informed about what's happening around us. Thank you for your time. I'll talk to you in the next one.